Around 1200 BC, the most advanced civilization the world had ever seen was thriving. A network of superpowers traded gold, wrote letters to each other, and built cities that wouldn't be matched for 1,000 years. And then, in the span of a single lifetime, it all vanished. Cities burned to the ground. Whole kingdoms disappeared from the map. People forgot how to write. Historians call it the Bronze Age collapse, and it might be the most important disaster you've never heard of. To understand what was lost, you have to see how connected this world already was. This is the Eastern Mediterranean, around 1250 BC, Egypt, the Hittite Empire in Anatolia, the Mycenaeans in Greece, Assyria and Babylon to the east, and trading hubs like Ugarit tying them all together. These weren't isolated tribes. Their kings called each other brother. They signed the first known peace treaty in history. It was, in a real sense, the world's first globalized economy. But that connection hid a fatal weakness. The entire age was built on a single material, bronze, and bronze is an alloy. Copper, which was common, mixed with tin, which was not. Tin was so rare, it had to be carried overland from as far away as modern Afghanistan. No long-distance trade meant no tin. No tin meant no bronze. And no bronze meant no tools, no weapons, no economy. Their greatest strength, their connection, was also the single thread the whole system hung from. Then, within about 50 years, everything unraveled. One by one, the great cities fell. The Mycenaean palaces were burned and abandoned. The Hittite capital, Hattusa, was destroyed and left empty. And the merchant city of Ugarit sent out desperate final letters in words like, "The enemy's ships are here, my towns are burned." And then it simply went silent. By around 1150 BC, of all the great powers, only Egypt was still standing, and even Egypt was crippled. So what happened? For a century, historians blamed a single mysterious enemy, the Sea Peoples, raiders who appear in Egyptian records attacking from the water. But that was never the whole story. The evidence points to a perfect storm, a decades-long drought that starved the cities, a cluster of powerful earthquakes along the same fault lines, internal rebellion as ordinary people went hungry, and yes, waves of migration and raiding. No single one of these would have been fatal. Together, they were catastrophic. And here's the part that matters most. The reason it spread everywhere is the very same reason it had grown so rich. Everything was connected. When drought hit one region, it stopped buying from the next. When trade routes were cut, cities that depended on imported food and tin began to starve. When one kingdom fell, its collapse became the next kingdom's crisis. It wasn't one domino. It was a network, and networks fail fast. What followed was a true dark age. Trade routes vanished, populations crashed, and in Greece, something almost unbelievable happened. People forgot how to write. The script they had used, Linear B, disappeared for roughly 400 years. An entire civilization's memory was erased. The world that finally emerged had to be rebuilt almost from scratch. It's tempting to file this away as ancient history, but look closer. Our world is not less connected than theirs. It is vastly more. Our food, our medicine, our technology, all depend on supply chains that stretch across the whole planet, just in time, with almost no slack. The Bronze Age teaches something uncomfortable. Complexity makes us efficient, but connection makes us fragile. Those kingdoms didn't fall because their enemies were strong. They fell because everything they had built depended on everything else. If you found this fascinating, it's exactly the kind of story we tell here. The turning points, that quietly shaped the world you live in. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.